first of all, I don't know, and Friar, help me out with this too. Can you just do a quick Google search? When does the moon's or the sun supposedly go into Leo? Do my dates for me. If you guys don't know, you're watching this. I have mild dyslexia, but when it comes to numbers, it's really bad. So my brain doesn't hold dates even after all these years, especially probably because having gone from tropical to sidereal astrology, like the actual dates, they all got mixed up and they're not anywhere near where most people think they are. So like my brain just like fuzzes out or starts putting random numbers in places. So I look at numbers on the spot. I don't even bother trying to hold those in my brain anymore. So,
right.
Well, okay, go ahead. What does it say?
According to the well-known astrology site allure.com, Leo is July 23rd through August 22nd. But according to the other well-known astrology site popsugar.com, it's July 22nd and ends on August 22nd.
Okay, that's perfect. That's beautiful. So let's take a look here. So right now, you guys, if you're watching this program is Stellarium. It is planetarium software, also called astronomy software. This is what astronomers use. It's a very well-known and well-used program. It's open source. Download it for free today, stellarium.org. You can see all of these things I'm showing you. As you can see, on July 22nd, the sun is nowhere near the constellation of Leo. It's just, yeah, I know. It's just now at this point, late July, entering Cancer, okay? So any astrologer, and we could talk a little bit about some of the rationale for why they think that this is still acceptable. This would be like me telling you, you guys, the sun rises right at midnight. It doesn't matter what astronomy says. Like we say, we're just all getting together and we're saying that the sun rises at midnight. Not only that, but winter time in the Northern Hemisphere comes right around like July 1st. Like that's when the first snow falls, okay? And if this sounds really stupid, that's because it is, right? It makes no sense at all.
No.
I'm gonna tackle this here in a second. So basically, here's what's going on. Okay. Leo, let me back up. As you can see, it's hitting this midpoint between these constellations. And I don't get super fixed on the actual date because the original constellations probably didn't have these exact boundaries anyway. So we're just looking at general portions of the sky so we can still have a pretty good idea. But as you can see over here, hopefully you can see it. My little window's not going to be in the way. Okay, good. August 11th is right when we're in this midpoint, which was just a few days ago. And today on the 14th, it's just now starting to enter Leo. So tropical astrology, you guys, it sucks and you got to quit using it. I don't care. I'm not saying you have to come to me for all of your astrology needs, although that would not be bad.
And I would encourage that.
Yeah, thank you. Vedic astrologers all use the literal placement, sidereal astrology. There's plenty of Western classical astrologers that now use the sidereal zodiac, which is the literal placement, which is this right here. So you guys got to be doing that, please.
Yeah. Wait. What am I supposed to do with this giant Aries tattoo that I have on my arm?
Well, it depends. There is like a 7-degree on, either side of overlap where you might be okay. You might not have to get your tattoos removed. But
not in my case. It's because it's different in sidereal. It's Pisces.
You're in the Aries cult. You can't get out of it. They're gonna, you're like in a gang.
Nice.
I don't know. I don't know what to do for you. You're in trouble.
I don't have a tattoo.
Well, that's,
that was just my example of
If I suspect if you did have an Aries tattoo, you would not be watching this video. You would not be on this call. You would hate me because I would not be here to validate your life choices. And that's really hard for a lot of people. I'm actually going to read some of my YouTube comments here shortly.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
Yes. So that people can see what it's like to experience, not like from my side, but cognitive dissonance, like that's a real thing. Yeah. Okay. So for this week, so what's this we're gonna do Wednesday to Wednesday because that's what we are usually doing, or at least we're gonna be doing here now. So that's gonna run us what to like the 20th. Let's go to the 20th. Basically, while the sun is in Leo, and this has to be a very general forecast because, I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet last time I checked. And so, you know, it affects everybody differently, depending on your personal individual natal chart. And so also factor that in, right? But while the sun is in Leo, this is Inanna Ishtar, the lioness of heaven. She was concentrated right here in Regulus. Later in Babylon, we have some Marduk associations with Jupiter, but we also have Nergal associations. He was often depicted with a lion's head or a lion-headed mace. Sometimes he had like long, shaggy mane with some lion's claws and whatnot. So we have this dual feminine, masculine archetype here. They're both very sensitive, very emotional, very and we'll err more on the masculine side. Even Inanna Ishtar in her like, even though she's a female, she's still like, this is more of her aggressive warlike traits, although she's not going out seeking battle in this sense. But she's definitely gonna, if you start something, she's gonna finish it. Now, keep in mind, this is in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the middle of summer or like late summer. And in the Southern Hemisphere, this is winter. So you can't just take your seasonal associations and plaster them onto all of the constellations. I mean, that was a good way to do it a long time ago, but it doesn't necessarily apply when we're looking at it from like a global situation. Either way, like I said, very sensitive. Venus in here, well, not just in here, but just the feminine version of Leo, which I think she's much more feminine than just the masculine Nergal. But even Nergal, he felt fear. He was easily manipulated. He had quite the ego, but he was also an unmatched warrior, hyper masculine. In later time, so early on in Mesopotamia, if you read Inanna's myths, she was much more of a vegetation goddess, and she was a lot softer and maybe maternal, but youthful, feminine. As time went on,
a question in the chat.
Yeah.
The question is from Astro Shamaran. She's wearing a beard, is the question.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes Venus wears a beard. In here, she probably does when she's near the Pleiades. She usually does. So, or she's said to. And that's a Babylonian thing. And that kind of goes back to, she has it in her to, you know, be kind of feisty. Now, her presence here she's embodied in the planet Venus. So her presence here definitely heightens some of Leo's more feminine energy. It is still going to be very sensitive, probably more emotionally sensitive as opposed to physically sensitive, which is what we tend to see when we have Mars here, which Mars was the embodiment of Nergal, the god of war, death, and pestilence, and the underworld, and the one who I said was very easy to manipulate and very sensitive. So this can be a very fun time, a time of a lot of love and joy and pleasure and, you know, just, you know, having fun, feeling alive, right? But it can also be, you know, Venus has love, can be, you know, there's two sides of that spectrum, right? There's deep despair, there's rage at times, and, you know, like it can go multiple ways. Don't just think like it's all just about pleasure. Again, 8 billion people on the planet. We're not all going to be in a great mood on the exact same day. Now, the good thing is the sun is also moving into Leo with Venus. So the moon, why do I keep saying the moon? Probably because the moon was seen as their father. But Venus and the sun were twins. And the sun Utu, or Shamash, as he was called in Babylon, was always trying to talk his sister off the ledge. He helped her pick out a husband. She wanted to choose the the farmer, but he said, no, you got to choose the shepherd, Demuzid, like he's definitely the way to go. He took her into the precursor to the Garden of Eden so she could eat of the fruit tree that would give her all of the knowledge of intercourse. So, you know, he was always giving her presents and like doing cool stuff.
Man, that sounds really familiar. I don't know.
It does, doesn't this? Is that crazy? It sounds so familiar.
And also the what was it, the farmer and the shepherd?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds familiar too, actually.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I believe Cain, he was the farmer and he got the short end of that stick too,
He
didn't
did.
he?
Said, I
He
don't
sure
want your
did.
stupid fruit.
I heard, oh, I don't want to get sidetracked, but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no. That reminds me, I heard an ad came out because now I have to watch YouTube with a VPN, which sucks. So now I see ads. Before I didn't have any because they stopped
Right.
running ads in Russia. But I'm like doing something. I was like washing dishes or something. I couldn't just go and stop my phone and like skip the ad. And it's Jordan Peterson and he's talking about the Bible and like all these in like these biblical stories and like how, you know, like the Bible is still a part, like it's this lasting part of you know, Western civilizations, which it is, you know, I can't argue, but I'm just over here screaming like he's talking about these stories and I'm like, oh, you don't understand, like that comes from Mesopotamia, like all these stories he's mentioning, they're not Jewish stories, they go all the way back like thousands of years. So
Right.
yes, sometimes the struggle is real. Okay, what was I talking about? Yeah, so the sun's going to come in and he is going to temper some of this Venus energy and make it so that she's not just running wild with whatever emotion, whether that's like, you know, pure love or despair or rage or whatever she's doing on any given day. We're still probably going to increase all of us will have like stronger empathic ability. We'll all probably be a little sensitive while this is happening. And how long is this going to go for? Let's see. Venus is going to move out by next week. So we'll have a whole new thing to talk about with Venus next week. The sun's going to be conjunct with Regulus right at that time. So that's probably a good thing too. We're gonna, like I said, the sun overpowers everything. This is basically like having a Sun-Venus conjunction,
Okay.
which is again, the wise solar twin is going to keep the wild feminine. They were very afraid of the feminine back then. They respected it, you know, but they did not want to mess around
I
because, you know.